Hi, everyone. I thank you for joining another edition of All Things Aviation and Aerospace. Each week, we focus on eye-opening opportunities in both industries, and this show is geared to reach the younger generation of aspiring aviation professionals. It's also an attempt to bridge the generation gap between seasoned aviation and aerospace professionals and STEM-focused students who are interested in pursuing careers, again, in aviation and aerospace. This show is going to be a little different. Usually I have a couple of young people on and we talk about career paths and opportunities and different aspects of the industry. But one of the things, and it's almost become a little bit of a pet peeve of mine, and that's about talking about scholarships, because there's a bunch of them out there. I have 5 guests on today that are going to talk about a whole litany of scholarship programs. And we do have some challenges with the scholarships not being taken advantage of or not being pursued. So I'm hoping that this, and I'll probably be doing a follow-up show, because I did get a couple emails saying, okay, well, yeah, they have scholarships, but did you know? And I got a whole list of other people and associations and museums of flight and all of that also have scholarship programs. I was like, well, I can't squeeze all of them in one hour, but I will come back and do another show about that. But scholarships, it's a big deal because there's a lot of opportunity with them. I call it free money because it's you get a scholarship and it pays the bills for you, or partially, depending on what it is that you're using for. And there's 2 levels of them. It's either for advancing your education, or if you're already at a certain point, it's for getting an advanced degree or getting, doing professional development and getting something, taking you further along in the area that you're specializing in and things like that. And so we're going to talk about all of those, and we're going to talk about them in a lot of different areas, and hopefully that will enlighten some of you about it. So without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce the folks that will be talking about the details of these scholarship programs. I'll start with Andrew Ross. Andrew is a United Airlines pilot. He is also a member of the Airlines Pilot Association, ALPA, and he sits on the education committee. So he's fully qualified to talk about all the things that ALPA is doing in terms of scholarships. Andrew, welcome to All Things Aviation and Aerospace.
Thank you, Vince, and thank you for having ALPA join you today. Very briefly, just about me, as Vince said, I am a Boeing 757-767 pilot for United Airlines. And prior to United, I was working for a regional airline called Envoy Air. And since about 2012, 2013, I've been part of the education committee, where we have been tasked by the ALPA board of directors with outreach, with ensuring that ALPA as a union isn't an unknown figure in a pilot's mind or even in management's mind by the time they actually leave college and go into the professional field. In that amount of time, I've had the opportunity to work in various roles and things that has been tasked by the education committee, including our establishment of a scholarship fund, which we finally got instituted in 2018. We are happy to provide up to $10,000 in scholarships every year. And we've done that for the last 3 years now. I believe we've just closed up this last one and are going to be disseminating money to the winners. So I'm just going to introduce that as how we do that. We do many other scholarship funding aspects. We have another scholarship that's also available to those that have been to pilots, sons and daughters who have the pilot has medicaled out, is what we call it, or has been forced into retirement because they lost their medical or the ability to pass their medical, or a deceased pilot, or somebody that's on long-term disability. So that's another sector of our scholarship. And then recently, ALPA donated it was a total of $200,000, $50,000 to each of the foundations that honor and respect the 4 United pilots that perished on 9/11. And that's obviously very appropriate right in this moment as we come up on our 20th anniversary for that. So that's just a little bit about what our scholarship outreach on behalf of ALPA is doing today and what we do. And I'd be happy to answer any specific questions or anything like that. But that's about the introduction, all the introduction I have for you, Vince.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrew. Again, it's great to have you with us. We also have Taz Thomas. Taz is the manager of AOPA's You Can Fly Scholarship, the AOPA Foundation. You Can Fly Scholarship Program. Say all that real fast. Taz, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. And continuing on, we have Margaret Brill. Margaret is the Major Gift and Donor Stewardship Officer for the EAA Aviation Foundation. EAA, of course, is Experimental Aircraft Association. Margaret, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. And we have Gregory Brown. Greg is the Director of Education and Training Services for HAI, better known as the Helicopter Association International. Greg, welcome to the show.
Vince, thanks for having me. We really appreciate it.
Oh, it's great to have you. Also fun to have somebody from the helicopter side of things.
Absolutely.
Shake it up a little bit. And last but not least, I'd like to welcome Allison McKay. Allison is the CEO of Women in Aviation International, better known as WAI. Allison, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
It was great to have you guys, and looking forward to talking about all of the scholarship opportunities that are out there. I'll go with you, Allison, since I have you up in this. Maybe you could tell us a little bit, give us a quick overview of everything that WAI is doing in the scholarship realm.
Yeah, this is really good timing for us because currently our scholarship application cycle is open, and we are accepting applications for our 100 available scholarships through October the 12th. So you have plenty of time to go on our website and check out all of the scholarships that we have available. They are really vast, and they represent all of the industry segments that we have, whether you're a pilot, aspiring pilot, a maintenance technician, air traffic control, whatever your interest is in this industry. I am sure that we are going to have a scholarship that that kind of suits your needs, whether you're trying to enter the industry or you're trying to further your career goals. As Vince stated earlier, we have so many that are available. Right now, it's at about $485,000 worth of scholarships that we have open, and that's really the kind of the cornerstone of our organization, is to provide opportunity to those that want to get in and want to stay in the industry. And a lot of times, financial needs are there because it is expensive to navigate this industry in certain careers for the most part. So we really love to be able to give this money away. And I think, as you stated earlier, sometimes there aren't that many applicants. So, I encourage everybody who is thinking about applying to just give it a shot. You really have nothing to lose by taking the time to fill out the application, to say, write an essay, because you could be the person. I think sometimes people discount themselves as, I'm not worthy enough to get that scholarship, but that is definitely not the case.
Sure. I'm going to come back to you about that and a couple other things, but let me go to Greg at Helicopter Association International. Greg, tell us a little bit about your program.
And we have got quite a few programs. We have the Bill Sanderson scholarships that awards scholarships to some of the OEMs, with folks get a full ride to their specific maintenance schools. We also provide them a stipend to help them with their travel, hotel, and what they need when they attend those schools. We have maintenance and scholarship available to students who are currently attending a Part 147 maintenance school. We have a commercial helicopter pilot scholarship program for folks who have already obtained a private pilot's license, but are in pursuit of their commercial pilot helicopter pilot's license. And then we have Michelle North scholarship that provides folks who are interested in safety to one of our safety management courses at Heli Expo, where we provide professional education classes. So there's many opportunities available. And as some of the panelists will tell you, this is a great opportunity now to get into aviation, because there is a shortage, not only of pilots, but also of maintenance mechanics personnel. So now it's to get in kind of on the ground floor, so to speak, and get yourselves situated and ready to go. It's a great industry. It's a flourishing industry, especially the helicopter industry, where we need a lot of pilots and mechanics. So now is the time to get in and get going.
I'm glad you brought that up because we talk about that every week. There are a plethora of opportunities to be a pilot, to be a mechanic, to be an avionics tech, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Some of the areas that Allison touched on in terms of air traffic control, flight operations, it's wide open right now, and it's in demand, and it's growing, and it's going to stay that way. Yes, there was a little bit of a lull last year from the pandemic, but that didn't last long. And now everybody is looking for everybody in all of the different positions. So I'm glad that you brought that up. And I believe that all of you can speak to that. Taz, how about telling us about the ALPA Foundation Scholarship Program?
Sure. So our scholarship for the 22 cycle will open November 1st. We offer a few scholarships. Some of our main scholarships include the Ray Foundation scholarships, which offers opportunity to learn how to fly and get in the air. To qualify, you have to be 15 to 18 years old. We also have a teacher scholarship for teachers teaching our ALPA curriculum. It gives opportunity for teachers who are teaching about aviation in the classroom to get some hands-on experience. So we really love that program as well. We have our primary scholarship program for ages 16 and up, and our advanced scholarships. So if you're already a pilot and you're looking to get your instrument, commercial, CFI rating, etc., that's the program for you. Our applications will be open from November 1st to February 11th. It's a pretty straightforward application process. What happens is we'll ask you a few questions, and then we'll do our work on the back end to see what scholarships you may qualify for. And we don't ask a lot of information. We just ask for 2 letters of recommendations. We want to know a little bit about yourself. Specifically, we're looking to see passion. We want to see that you are interested or you have experience and you love being in the air. That's one of the main things that we
That
look
you
for.
have been bitten by the aviation bug.
Right. Because we get a lot of questions. Do I already have to fly or know how to fly in order to get this scholarship? And that's not the case. What we want to do is we want to bridge the gap. We want to get people who are interested and who are already in the air, and keep people in the air who have maybe taken a break from aviation.
Sure.
So last year, we awarded about $1.1 million in scholarships to about 124 recipients. And we expect for the 22 cycle to be about the same.
Okay. I'm already getting questions, but before I do that, I want to go to Margaret. Margaret, let you tell us a little bit about EAA's program.
Sure. So at EAA, our mission is to grow the spirit of aviation. And so we do that by getting aviation in front of as many people as possible, right? Introducing them to aviation and helping them through that process. So scholarships are one way that we do that. Each year we award over $1 million in scholarships through various programs. We have flight training scholarships. We have post-secondary scholarships. So those who are interested in pursuing a flight, a career in flight, or an aviation-related STEM field. Right now, our flight training scholarships are open, and they're open until November 1st. So you can go online to eaa.org/scholarships, and you can log into our portal there. It's a fairly easy application process. It's all online. And there's a few basic demographic questions and then 3 essay questions where we are, like AOPA, looking to see where's your passion with aviation, what brought you there, where you are in your career, or where you are in your journey. So for our flight training scholarships, we strive to provide at a minimum $5,000. And they can be used at any flight school in the United States or Canada. And you have to just use it within 1 year of accepting the scholarship. And there's no age requirements, and you can be anywhere in the process of your flight training to apply for that scholarship. So if you're new and interested in getting into flying, if you're somewhere in between and need that extra assistance, you can apply for those flight training scholarships. And then we also have the Ray Scholars Program through EAA, and that is managed by EAA, and it is administered through our EAA chapter network. So those who might be interested in that program. It's for ages 15 to 19. We would really encourage people to get involved with their local chapters because they'll be the ones who would be administering those scholarships. And those are $10,000 a piece to cover your entire flight training. So that's kind of what EAA does in a nutshell.
Yeah, thank you. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the application process, because the application process seems to scare a lot of people, particularly young people and their parents, with regard to this. And you know, you guys can speak to it specifically to your organizations. All of you have an online process that's probably pretty straightforward, but we still have people that are hesitant about, I hate to use that term these days, but that are that are reluctant to go through the process, even though it's sitting right there in front of them, and they may very well qualify for a scholarship. I'm opening it up to the floor to hear what you guys have to say about that.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
I find that a lot of, applicants, they are intimidated by the application process, and they don't have to be, especially with the online portal. It's very straightforward. We're asking demographic information, and we want to get to know a little bit about yourself. This is your time to shine and show us about, your journey, your background, and how aviation is unique to you. I do understand the hesitancy because, we oftentimes have less scholarships than we have applicants, but I don't want that to deter people from applying, because you never make a shot that you don't try, right? So please apply. One of the things that I find, though, is that some applicants will start the application process and not finish. And I want to encourage you to make sure that all of your documents are submitted on time. If you're taking the time to apply, just, double, triple checking it just to make sure that you have everything submitted.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Margaret, I think you were going to say something, and then Allison.
I was just going to say that the application process, with it being online now, it's much easier than, say, 15 years ago, where you had to write it all down and really put it in the mail and send it in.
And Xerox it.
Yeah. So it makes it so much easier to log in. And I know you can go in and start and then come back, so you can save it if you want to think about it. But I would encourage you to not overthink it, right? Just kind of go from the heart and say what it is that you want to accomplish, and it'll come out in the application process. And you don't always have to have these really long, wordy prose to get your point across that I'm very passionate about aviation, and this is why I could use the scholarship. Yeah.
Allison?
Yeah, I would agree. I think the word passion has kind of woven its way through this conversation a lot, and that's all.
That's an aviation
review
thing.
Committees want to see. We are not looking for a grammatically perfect essay. We're not looking for really complex verbiage. We are looking for you just to tell us why you love this industry and why you want the opportunity to advance. And it's as simple as that. But I will say, as Taz said, we receive a lot of applications that are missing the critical bits of what our requirements are. If you're looking for a flight training scholarship, attach your logs, tell me where you've gone to school. Just like the basic information sometimes gets lost, and we need some of the basic requirements, but they're not complicated. I mean, just you're just uploading the basic requirements.
Yeah.
Consider it an opportunity for the applicant to introduce themselves to the selection process.
Yeah,
because we don't know you, and we get a lot of it. This is your way of introducing yourself to us. And again, I always smile when I hear the word passion, because that's what it boils down to. But if you have your instructors or somebody else within the industry can write a letter of recommendation for you, that's great. And I'll echo what everybody else says: incomplete applications. Don't get discouraged in the process. It's not that difficult. Just start it, finish it, get it in. You'll never know what can happen.
Yeah. Andrew?
Yeah, I think Taz and everybody did a wonderful job summarizing exactly what I was going to say. My only recommendation to add to this would be that if you can find somebody you trust, preferably somebody in the industry who kind of knows and maybe can understand what is being asked on the application, have somebody review it before you submit it. That will help. You get so
Great
caught
idea.
up in reading your own words and reading everything and doing, well, of course I attached it. And then somebody looks at it and goes, well, why isn't the document there? Like, where's the link? So having another pair of eyes on that is invaluable. Even if you don't look, even if they're not great with grammar, but simply finding did you mean to put that, or did you mean, I don't understand what you're saying here. If somebody else can't read it, there's a good chance that when I get it, I'm not going to understand what it was. So that would be my only recommendation to add to that. But please apply. There was a statistic I heard last year, some millions and millions and millions of dollars go unclaimed every year in scholarship money. And it is other than just simply being a great addition to, lower the amount that it costs, the barrier to entry into this wonderful, whether you make it a career or this just getting your certificates, it helps validate, and it helps show that, and to show who you are to other people. So it's a wonderful time. Don't be intimidated by it, please. It's better, as Taz said, and I was going to take it. She stole my thunder, was you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. The worst that happens is you have to apply again next year.
Yeah, and don't be afraid. If you go through the process and you have a question, you can always call back to your organization to ask. Right. Don't just give up and say, you know what, I don't know this, I'll stop. Always call back. There's somebody there who will answer the question and get back to you. So don't be afraid. Don't stop. Keep pushing through.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I was going to talk about a little bit too, just in general, and say that I think there's two things that come up that you guys have brought up. Well, Andrew, you just brought one up, and that is, it is true that there's a lot of scholarship money that goes to waste or gets turned over to the next year because of lack of applicants for it and things like that. And then I've talked to a number of organizations and companies that feel very challenged with it, that they're putting the money on the table and saying, hey, we will pay for this aspect of your education or this aspect of your training, and they're not getting takers. And that's why I wanted to really hear what you guys had to say about the challenges with that. While we're on the application process, some of you have given a couple of tips. Do any of you have any other tips that you would give to our viewers that are thinking about applying for one of your scholarships?
I would just say, just read the requirements and take a hard look at it. And again, it goes back to, if you don't understand, just ask someone or call back to the organization. They'll be more than happy to walk you through it. Because some of the things that we found where someone sent an application in and they did not understand what the requirements were for the application. And so we had to send it back to them. So please, if you don't understand, just call back to the organization and ask someone to get the answers that you need.
Okay.
If you're feeling intimidated by the fact that maybe you haven't had as much aviation experience as you feel everyone else has had, I would suggest that when filling out your application too, think of maybe things outside of the aviation world that you could use as examples to show your perseverance, to show your dedication and your passion that can translate. Because if you're new to it, it might seem intimidating and say, well, I want to get the money anyhow because I'm just starting out. Try and take something else in your life and demonstrate that. So, because flight training can be stressful and it can be challenging, but you can have those skills within you. It's all right.
We lost you, Margaret. No, there you go. You're back. No
Did
problem.
Did you get all that? Okay.
I think, except for maybe the last two words.
Okay.
Anyhow, so let's do a little deeper dive. And by the way, I do have somebody waiting in the wings with a question about grants, and I want to deal with that a little bit later because I want to stay on where we are with scholarships. I'd like to do a little deeper dive into some of the specific scholarships that each of you guys offer that you really want to take this advantage to to talk about and trumpet. I'll start with you, Allison, and WAI.
Yeah. So, so we offer a lot of different types of scholarships. So depending on what your career goals and path are, there's definitely going to be something that applies to you. So we have an easy on our website, wai.org/scholarships. We have a drop down. So you can filter the 100 scholarships by career segment: flight training, maintenance, air traffic control, dispatch. There's a whole host of categories that'll allow you to filter it very easily and then come up with the short list of what really applies to you. From there, each of those scholarships will have some different requirements or a different a mechanism for application. So it's just really important that once you find a scholarship that you think fits, you click on that and it'll give you a play-by-play of exactly what you need to do. We offer the opportunity for you to apply for 3 scholarships each cycle. So it's not limited to just one. You can apply for 3. You could potentially get all 3. So it's really worth just filtering through that system and finding the short list that you're really interested in, and then reading closely what the requirements are.
Got you. Andrew, you guys have partnerships with a number of universities and colleges that are part of your scholarship program. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we have 13 official partnerships with the universities. Again, that doesn't limit us. We do go to other universities, but we have a formal memorandum of understanding with 13 of them. And of these 13 universities, we have a university liaison. For instance, I'm the university liaison for Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. We then submit those applications. Yeah, very good. We then submit those applications for or we send out the application and let our respective universities know that they're available that students can apply through that portal. And that is where we go through it. Depending on the funding that we get us allocated to us, we either chop that up into many different funds. We can either say, like a $5,000 one, or then 2 $2,500 ones, or we give it all 10,000. It's kind of a hit or miss depending on, but we publish all that prior into the application window. So that's specifically how it works. We look for a lot of specific involvement. We don't limit it to going into the airlines. We just want to see what your involvement is and what you're doing to set yourself apart as you go through your education and what you do to give back to those around you. So that's specifically how we work.
Got you. Margaret, how about you? You want to tell us a little bit more about your programs there at EAA, more specifically?
Sure. So our flight training scholarships and our post-secondary scholarships are done online. So you put in the application, and then we take all of those applications and we review them against the criteria for the individual awards that are being offered in that cycle. And then we match them up to the greatest potential. So it's not necessarily that you're applying for a specific scholarship. It's you're applying for all of our scholarships, and then we kind of on the back end match you up with the best scholarship, because there's different criteria from our donors when they bring them in. And so it's easier for us to be able to kind of match people up along the way.
Can you give a couple of examples?
Yeah, so right now we do have a flight scholarship that's new that we just opened up that I'm excited about. It's an ADA scholarship. So for someone who may have a disability and is interested in getting into flight, that one is a new one that is available for the flight training. There's also, sorry, I just lost it. I want to pull it up here. We also have some that are specific to girls that are interested in aviation. We have our Air Academy Alumni Scholarship that's available. So there's a CFI scholarship. So if you're interested in going and getting your CFI certification. So they kind of run the gamut of opportunities for people. So we encourage you to apply, and we have 2 cycles throughout the year too for flight training scholarships. So if you do the first cycle and you aren't awarded a scholarship, you can always apply in that next scholarship cycle as well.
Yeah, I'm going to ask the same question of others, but are you required to be a member of EAA to apply for the scholarship?
No.
Okay.
So you can, yes, you can.
Go
You
ahead.
don't have to be an EAA member to apply for one of our scholarships. It is one of the questions on our form, and it is something that we take a look at, but you do not have to be an EAA member to receive a scholarship.
Gotcha. And the reason, what made me think of that question, Allison, is women in aviation. I believe you are required to be a member.
Yes. Yes, you are required to be a member to apply for our scholarships. For this cycle, you need to be a member by October the 1st to apply by October the 12th.
Yeah. And that wasn't to put you on the spot. I just want our viewers to know what each of the organizations do. I was also looking at your website, though. You guys have a pretty comprehensive set of pages about the scholarship program. You have one, I was looking here, that's scholarship application requirements. It's an entire page that kind of goes through. So you guys are pretty specific about it.
Yeah, we do try to give applicants as much information as possible to aid in the process. But as Greg mentioned, we also have a scholarship coordinator that is available via email with questions or phone call. And at this time of the year, she is fielding a lot of questions that our applicants have. And so we really do try to provide as many resources as possible to take the scare out of the process.
Right.
But if you want to talk to somebody, we do have someone available.
Yeah, and then you have the frequently asked questions page, which the first question on there I think is great, because years ago, many years ago, when I first went to my first Women in Aviation conference, and I was surprised at the number of guys that were attending. And so I said, oh, well, yeah, I was doing it because it was part of my responsibility working in the field. But I thought, wow, there's a lot of guys here at WAI. And I see the first question is, so I'm a guy. Can I apply for these scholarships?
Yes. So 20% of our members are men. We really encourage diverse membership. We need allies in this industry just as much as we need the women in the industry. And so we do not discriminate based on gender.
Yeah, and that was kind of set by your founder. So yeah, she set the tone for that. Greg, how about you? Can you tell us a little bit more specifics about some of your scholarships that are available there? You brought them up earlier, but wanted you to dive into it a little bit more.
Sure. Our maintenance certificate scholarship is the applicant has to be enrolled in a Part 147 school and on their way to achieving the A&P license. You don't have to be a member, because part of winning or being awarded a scholarship, you do get a 1-year membership to HAI. As a HAI member, you do get a 1-year subscription to our Rotor magazine, and then you get complimentary access to Heli Expo and the show floor. So
if you get the scholarship.
If you get the scholarship.
Gotcha.
So that's great. And the commercial helicopter pilot is also the same thing. For the maintenance scholarship, the awardee received $2,500, and we have 2 of those scholarships this year. But a commercial pilot scholarship, you have to be on your way towards a commercial pilot certificate, enrolled in a Part 141 school. And again, the same things apply. You get the 1-year membership to HAI. You get complimentary admission to Heli Expo and show floor. And the recipients will receive $5,000 for their scholarship. And again, we're giving 2 of those out this year. The Bill Sanderson scholarships are a little bit different on you have to have your A&P license already to be eligible for this scholarship. And we do have some of the OEMs that have graciously put up attendance to their specific schools for the members. So we've got Airbus, we've got MD, we've got Pratt & Whitney, we've got Rolls-Royce, we've got Safran and Leonardo that have offered school seats for the recipients. We give 6 of those, and they're ranked from 1 to 5. And so the first place recipient will receive $1,600 stipend that will help them in to transport themselves there, get hotel, because all we provide is the admission to the school. And so they get that much money. And then to the sixth place recipient gets $500. So that's a great added benefit for them. And again, same things apply with the membership to HAI, Rotor Magazine, and a pass to the Heli Expo on the show floor. And the last one is the Michelle Noir Scholarship. It deals with a little bit more of the safety aspect of aviation. And Michelle North, we give one of those scholarships away, and the person would attend one of our SMS courses that the PEC class of professional education courses at Heli Expo. It's being held a few days before Heli Expo. And again, same thing, they get one recipient will receive that award, and they get membership to HAI, admission to the show floor. So there's lots of good benefit. And part of it is getting a membership to HAI, and that'll let you in the door so you can see the many other things that HAI does within the industry and gets you excited about being part of the great helicopter industry.
So, one of the things that the helicopter industry, like the rest of aviation and aerospace, is a very vibrant industry that's growing and doing very well. But you mentioned that you've had the challenge of getting people to take advantage of the scholarship opportunities. Can you tell us a little bit more about your perspective on that? You've been in the industry. As a matter of fact, tell us a little bit about your background.
My background a little bit, I was fortunate enough to be given the opportunity to fly the CH-53 helicopter to the Marine Corps. I enjoyed that very well. I loved helicopters. Initially going in, I did not want to fly helicopters. I wanted to be, as every kid wanted to be, a jet pilot. But I had an opportunity to fly a TH-57. And once I got a chance to fly that, I was hooked, and helicopter was it for me. So that's how I got into the helicopter industry. I think for the people look at helicopters and they think, that's so difficult. That's, so many moving parts. Can I really fly that? And, there's more airplanes around than there are helicopters. But I can tell you, once you sit down and talk to somebody who's flown a helicopter, you will be changed. Your life will be changed, because every one of us who are in the industry, where we're flying, we're maintaining, or work within the industry, would tell you that it's a challenging aspect working with helicopters, but it's also very rewarding because it's different. We've got a lot of different parts, a lot of different things that we have to look at. And with a pilot, you're moving three different things at the same time, cyclic, collective, on your pedals. And so you're flying to different areas, doing the Gulf tour, flying out to the Gulf, to the oil rigs. You can do that. Medevac, we're saving lives. You look at what's going on in out west, unfortunately, with the fires, but there are helicopters associated with that. Sometimes when you have your nice Christmas tree in your home during the holidays, there's a helicopter that was able to get that to your house. So helicopter is a vibrant industry. We do a lot, but like everybody else, with the shortages that we're seeing with pilots and maintenance technicians, we're not immune from that. And so I encourage you to take a look at it. But the helicopter industry really wants folks in there, and we're pushing hard to get people to join the industry.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that from any of the rest of you, in terms of getting more applicants for these scholarship opportunities, anybody else have a off the top of their head thought about it?
I mean, for Women in Aviation, we utilize our chapter network as well as our school partners, so both flight school, maintenance schools, universities, to promote the application cycle process through. And so I think we really try as hard as we can to reach as many audiences as we can, so that we do get a lot of applications. We actually don't have that many scholarships that there aren't enough applicants for. So I think we are fortunate in that regard. But we've been around doing this since the mid-90s, and I do think that we have a lot of past scholarship winners who also reach into their communities and talk about the scholarships. So we are fortunate that we have been around so long doing this. So we do have a great network.
Yeah, Taz, that's the same for the AOPA Foundation, right?
Yes. So we do receive quite a few applicants each cycle, and we do have people who apply more than once. So it's great that, if don't be discouraged if you don't receive a scholarship once. You can always apply again. And we also have several recipients who received a scholarship one year and then applied again and received it again for their advanced rating. But we do get quite a few applicants each year. So it does, I do point out to applicants, that's where it's your opportunity to shine and stand out for these scholarship opportunities.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit more detail about some of the scholarships like the others have, just to give the viewers an idea of what these scholarships actually entail?
Sure. So we have about 20 plus donors, and it does vary, each year, and they make up our scholarship program. Our scholarship ranges from $3,000 to $10,000 for a scholarship. And similarly to EAA, we have a general application that applicants complete, and we do the matching on the back end. So we kind of make it a little bit easier for the applicants where they don't have to necessarily go say, oh, what do I apply for? Because I do get that question a lot. What do I qualify for? What do I qualify for? And, I always say, I don't know until you complete the general application, because I don't know anything about you until that application is completed. So based on the questions that we ask on the application, we can then do matching on the back end to see what scholarship opportunities an applicant may qualify to receive.
Yeah. What's a high school flight training scholarship? I'm just looking at your 4 categories here.
So high school students can apply if they want to receive their sport, private, or recreational license.
Okay. Yeah. And then for the teacher, is it the same thing?
Yes, it is.
Gotcha. And then primary is just more advanced training and and then you have the advanced rating.
So for the primary, it's also for PPL, sport, private, or recreational as well. The difference is between the high school and teacher is that it's under the Ray Foundation donor. And for the high school, they do have to be an ALPA member. And for teachers, they have to be teaching the ALPA curriculum. So
Okay.
if you are 16 or up and are not teaching, or not qualifying for the high school program, you would qualify for the primary. And then the advanced is for, your advanced rating, CFI, instrument, commercial.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's good. That gives us a little better idea. Andrew, you had told us pretty comprehensively at the beginning of the show about yours, but are there anything you can tell us into a little bit more detail about ALPA scholarships?
The only real part of the scholarship that I think I would talk about is the fact that, well, no, I think I've covered most of it at this point. I know one of the questions around earlier was, do you need to be a member? This is actually surprisingly something that we get asked quite a bit. Do I need to be an ALPA member? Well, you can't be an ALPA member until you're at an ALPA carrier. So some people, if you're going to these universities that we have an established program at, please consider applying when the window opens. Most of our liaisons do a good job of getting that word out into, at a general boards. A lot of universities coordinate scholarships all together. So if you're at one of our partner universities, go ahead and look out for that window. And when it does open up, make sure that you're applying for it, because you may not even be, you may not specifically use it for flight training. You may just be using it for a general purpose. You might be at the tail end of your training. You already have your instructor certificate or something, and you would like to use it for, if you're getting a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree in something else, you can use it for anything. So it doesn't have to specifically be that. And you also don't have to say you're going to go to the airlines. We don't require that. It's not part of it. Our biggest philosophy behind scholarships was not, we need to feed airlines. We just need to keep interest in this beautiful, wonderful industry that we have, and this lifestyle that we have that's full of passion. We have to do our part to make sure that we lower the cost of entry, so to speak, into this world we live in. So I don't know if that was specifically answering that question.
No, it was fine actually. So I wanted to spend the last part of it, and we will. Well, let me do this, because I did have one of the questions from one of our viewers asking about grants, specifically for like a junior or 2-year college. Do any of your organizations do that or have a grant program for that type of, to start an aviation program in a junior college or 2-year community college, I should say?
So I'll start and just say, so we do not, but I'm not sure many organizations do. But what I would encourage the person who asked the question is to look at resources in the state or in your county, because there are a lot of programs that states offer for economic development, and aviation is one of those industries that is thriving and growing, and states and counties are looking for ways to bring funds into their state and resources into their state. And so I think that that's probably going to be their best avenue, is to contact their local economic development offices.
Gotcha. Did anybody have anything to add to that?
A lot of the only thing I would add is a lot of organizations like us have affiliation with high schools, and we started with that and
right.
worked with that. So if the community college wants to look at certain high schools that have aviation programs that are either developed or being developed, then that's something to look at. Because we look at one that we were working with, where we started with the Utah Rotor Pathway Program, where we got in high school, started basic aviation curriculum dealing with rotor. And then if we want to have somebody else to join up with the community college to offer college credits, then great, because we started with college credits in high school that they can move on to somewhere else. And if the community college wants to do that, then I encourage them to look at partnering with a high school where they can start there, and then they can move on to some of the credits to the community college.
Gotcha. Taz?
Oh, I just wanted to add, not necessarily with 2-year schools, but just universities in general, that some of our scholarships can be applied. So students can achieve their PPL through university if they choose to. Gotcha.
And Taz, can you tell us a little bit about your background? Because you don't come from an aviation background, but you're in the mix now.
So I come from higher education. I have been awarding scholarships for the past 8 years and helping students with their financial aid. And I love awarding scholarships. So no, I don't have any aviation background, but I just funding, passion. So I get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, absolutely do. And I'm just giving you a hard time. Margaret, I don't think you have an aviation background either, if I'm correct.
I do not. I came from nonprofit and higher ed myself. So I've always been really drawn to how to help out your community and help grow stronger communities. So that's how I ended up at EAA.
Are you getting the bug to fly yet?
Yes. So having gone through my first air venture in July, and being able to see that entire community come together and to feel the energy throughout the week from everyone, it was great. And
it makes you want to get in an airplane, right?
Yes. And my husband even made the comment, he goes, "You're stopping to look at planes now." And I said, yeah, it's hazard of the trade, I guess.
Yeah.
So I would put the same question to Taz, but she already said, well, I've done my discovery flight and I prefer to be a passenger. It's not really my thing.
Absolutely. But I will say, and I think this may be beneficial to students watching, is that, so I'm not a part of the aviation community as far as a pilot, but when I go to these events, like the passion, the lifestyle is such a culture. It's so inspiring.
It's like a community.
Yes, I get inspired by seeing people be inspired. I love the energy. And so not only do we provide funding, but when you get a scholarship and you're meeting other students on their journey, and then you're meeting people in the airports and you're building a rapport with your instructor, it's a community. It's a huge network that you get to benefit from, in addition to the funding you receive.
Yeah.
And Taz, I'm sure you know too, from your background in higher ed, like, scholarships can be transformative, right? Like they can really change someone's life and put them on a different path.
Absolutely.
And aviation, looking into it and what it takes to go to flight school and to get your pilot's license, it's not cheap. It's not necessarily, the easiest either. So being able to take one of those barriers away by giving away a scholarship, so that way you can focus and get that taken care of. I think that's a huge opportunity for anyone out there looking to.
Yeah. You guys have all brought up the word passion, and you've all been touching on the opportunities, the possibilities in the industry. As we start to wrap the show up, I'd like for each of you to kind of give your perspective from your experience in terms of including what you're doing now and these scholarship programs in terms of the future of the industry and what you see going forward is going to be happening that the young audience can appreciate and be inspired by.
Well, I'll start. I'll definitely see more women in the air moving forward. There's going to be a lot of people in the air who look different than we, initially thought of. And that's very, very exciting. We're having a lot of women apply more, and that makes me very happy.
Okay. Greg?
The vertical lift industry is changing. And sometimes if you're not have the bug to fly, they are unmanned vehicles and unmanned aircraft that'll be available that need people to manage them, work on them, and do other things to them. So the industry is becoming more diverse, not from a people standpoint, but from an equipment standpoint. So find your niche in what you want to do, because it's out there, and go for it, and use and utilize the scholarships and the information and the mentors that are out there who are ready, willing, and able to help you reach your dreams.
Well said, Greg. Andrew?
That was, actually, I love everything he just said. Additionally, I'll put in that looking forward, actually exactly what Taz said, and that's this is not a ALPA specific thing now, it's more of a United specific thing. We set up our Aviate Academy, and we had a big announcement at the Air Venture as well, when United realizes that that's a need, as Taz identified. We need to diversify our pilot pool. We need to move forward by finding everybody that qualifies and bringing them in and removing that barrier, which I believe we partnered with Chase on to help lower that cost of entry, because that is huge. And that's where I think it was Margaret said it, like, it can be transformative. It can literally be the difference between going, I'm going to be a pilot in the future, or going, I guess I'll go into finance or something. It's literally that moment where you're going to have either a career or you're going to have a job. And so I think everybody, one of us on this panel has experience seen that effect, and it's life-changing even to watch it. And I want to throw in a plug one real fast to Kurt, who asked that question about grants. Kurt, exactly what Allison said, talk to your economic developer. Also visit grants.gov, and I'm going to type that into your question. Grants.gov helps, because they're just like scholarships, millions and millions of dollars in grants that go unclaimed every year, and STEM is huge, which aviation falls under. So go to grants.gov, look up STEM and aviation and as many other combination of words that you can find. And then if it is a private grant organization, consider bringing in somebody with experience writing grants, because grant writing and application is an entire monster in and of itself if it goes into, if it's done through a private group. So that's going to be my quick stuff. I'm going to summarize that and type up an answer for you.
Yeah, I like what you said. I'm going to add one thing to it, Andrew, and that is there is such a thing as aviation finance. So that can be a career for the non-pilot. And I'm not trying to be funny. One of the points of this show is to let everybody know that whatever your skill set is, it can be applicable in aviation and aerospace. So if you're really good at design or something like that, or interior design, I mean, somebody has to figure out what these cabins are going to look like. Right. Somebody has to know how to deal with the connectivity factor that is now an absolute and on most airplanes, whether they're commercial or private or business or whatever, et cetera. I just had the experience. I was at the Delta Flight Training Center last week in their technical operations center, and they have an engineering department that, you know, you just don't expect to go to an airline and they show you their engineering department. But they had a slew of engineers that work on engineering type of things in reference to the technology for their aircraft and their ops and et cetera and so forth. So as you kind of alluded to earlier, Allison, there's just a ton of different kinds of things. Yes, the pilot is the coolest.
Pilot gets all the attention.
And the mechanic keeps us flying, but and gets all the attention, right? But the other things that are available in the industry are really surprising. And I just digress one quick second and mention that I met a young lady at Textron Aviation out in Wichita, and I just happened to ask her what she majored in, and she said agricultural communications, and I said, what's that? But it turned out that she was really interested in environmental type of things and whatever, and she got an internship that turned into employment with Textron, and now she's working on their sustainability program. So she's a happy camper because that's an environmental thing, right? It ties in with her communications major, et cetera, et cetera. So you just, the opportunities are just all over the place. And I had to throw that in there. Let me go to Margaret to give us your overview.
Well, a phrase that we use a lot here at EAA is we help open the door to aviation, right? And so I think that as we look to the future, we are trying to open more of those doors. And like Todd said, looking at maybe some of these underrepresented populations, women in aviation, being able to offer these opportunities to them, and scholarships are a great way to do that. We also have a couple of initiatives that we'll be rolling out. The Aero Educate we launched at AirVenture, which is our online platform that takes kids from the beginning of aviation to their career pathway. So we have partnered with United and some other larger organizations to help kind of demystify the aviation pathway. So you can get started in doing hands-on activities as a young child in STEM aviation activities, and then move on through to that career path and kind of help you along the way. So that's kind of how we are looking at the future and moving through what the next generation of aviation enthusiasts will look like.
Great, thank you. And Allison, as I always like to say, let you take it home.
Yes. So like Margaret said, we're also really focused on getting kids exposed to aviation at an early age. And we are hosting our Girls in Aviation Day on September 25th. And so if you go to our website, we have all of the locations listed as to where you can attend either an in-person event or a virtual event. We created an app last year for the virtual Girls in Aviation Day called Aviation for Girls, which you can download anywhere. And so we're really focused on, exposing young girls to aviation in elementary school and giving them that bug early.
Yeah. Allison, while I have you, what's your deadline again for scholarships?
Applications are due on October the 12th. You need to be a member by October the 1st.
Okay. Gregory, same question to you.
Our applications are open now and it closes on December 3rd.
Okay. Taz?
Opens November 1st, closes February 11th.
Margaret?
Our flight training scholarships are open now and will close November 1st. And then our post-secondary scholarships will open up November 15th.
Andrew?
We kind of move the target depending on each year. And I think our next cycle opens up sometime in the spring or winter for the spring semester. So, but that is, again, we kind of have some variability on that, and it's primarily disseminated through our liaisons. So it's kind of a moving target.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for being on the show today and talking about your scholarship programs in depth and really providing some valuable information to our viewers about what you guys are offering, what's there on the table and everything. I really appreciate it. And hearing about your background, meeting a couple of you for the first time. So And I'm going to figure out a way for Greg and I to go fly a CH-53 Kilo K.
My best friend for life.
Because what's that?
So you'll be my best friend for life if we can pull that off.
If I can make that happen, you'd be my best friend too. Anyhow, guys, thanks a lot. Wish you all well with everything, with your organizations, your scholarship programs. And again, thank you for being on All Things Aviation and Aerospace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks
y'all.
for having us.
Bye-bye.
Everybody, my name is Vince Mickens. This is All Things Aviation and Aerospace.